Fall Guys is one of the most popular games out right now, but it can be tricky to win that golden crown at the end. Here are my tips and tricks on all the different stages that will hopefully help you get that win. Let's take a look at the race courses first. Dizzy Heights. The main thing you want to do is always go with the spinning discs. It's faster to go the long way around rather than fight the direction of the disc itself. Once you make it off these discs, you want to dodge the balls by weaving through the blocks wherever possible. Again, getting hit isn't the end of the world here, but you would like to get through as fast as possible. Always remember to jump when moving from the high platform to the lower spinning discs. There is a gap and you will lose a lot of time if you don't jump here. Once you make it across, head towards the middle and just try and keep going towards the middle as much as possible and you will make it there pretty easily. Dodge the balls going up the ramp and you'll make it. Door Dash. There's no way to tell which doors are going to open and which ones won't. So being out ahead is very risky in this race, and getting stuck on doors that don't open can lose you a lot of time. Try to hang back just a tiny little bit and wait to see which door opens. You may get trampled going through a single door, but just try and jump and use your dive to get through, and a lot of times the crowd will actually push you through. All but the last set of doors have at least 2 doors that open, so try and go to the one that's less crowded. Use your jump and dive whenever going through to make it easier, and once you do the jump off the end, again, try and just get as much distance from the fall as other people falling on top of you can knock you down and slow you down again, so jump and dive. The next one, Fruit Chute. This one is always a tricky stage, and a lot of it is going to come down to luck. I feel that each round, the fruit seems to be more heavily concentrated on either the left or the right side, so it's a gamble as to which side it's going to be, but pick one and usually try and stick with it. My main strategy on this one is to get running as fast as possible on the treadmill, then jump. This gives you a little boost forward and can be helpful when dodging fruit, but jumping constantly will actually lose your speed and slow you down more than just walking. Try to stick to one side and use the bumpers as cover if possible, and just keep at it and you'll get to the end. Gate Crash. This race is all about timing. I find it easiest to time my jumps by running at gates as they are starting to rise up. This way, as soon as I reach it, it is now on the way down and I can easily run and jump over it. I usually like to throw a dive at the end of each jump just in case the door is starting to come up again, and if it does, it'll usually fling you right over and you'll be able to continue. When you make it to the slime at the end, focus on a door that is rising up as you start to go down the slime. By the time you reach the bottom, it will be down and you can easily make it across. Again, throwing in that dive at the top of your jump will help if the door does start to come back up, but you should make it no problem. Hit Parade. Falling at the beginning of this one won't really slow you down very much, so if possible, stay on top, but if not, don't panic. Go with the flow of people when getting to the spinners. It does not help to fight against people, just keep moving forwards. When the big wall opens, it actually opens at the sides or in the middle, so go to whichever side is closer to you. Take your time when you're dodging the wrecking balls. These will cost you a lot of time if you fall. Move the camera from side to side so you can see where they're swinging to not get hit. On the slime, if you stick to either the left or the right side, you won't get hit by any of the bumpers and it's an easy walk all the way up to the finish. The Seesaw. Patience is your best option in this race. You may feel like you're so far behind in this map, but trust me, you'd be surprised how fast you can make back into qualifying. This race is all about staying in control and making the smart move. If you see a platform moving that is way too high, wait for it to come down or move your platform higher. There is no point in rushing it and falling. Whenever possible, try and walk off the next platform, don't jump. We're used to jumping all the time, but the poor little fall guys are a lot more likely to stumble if you jump from a high height rather than walking off. This could mean the difference from sliding off and having to do it all again. You can actually walk up a lot of the very tilted, almost vertical platforms. Again, we're trained to jump a lot. You don't want to jump on these. Walk on it, and you can actually just slowly walk all the way up and get to the next platform. Just keep doing this and you should get to the end. The final platform, you do usually have to run to one side to make it tilt up and then run back to the other so that you can actually jump onto that final platform. Slime Climb. This is one of the most challenging, most frustrating, and one of the most fun levels there are in the game. You have to be careful on how fast the slime is climbing. One touch and you're out. So while I'll show you some shortcuts that you can try and take, if you're getting stuck or having a hard time, it can be best to take the long way around and stay out of the slime. Right from the start, you can easily jump in between the bouncing pads to get up to the next level. Take it slow past the pushers and make sure you don't get bumped off. Walk again around the corner, avoiding the balls as much as possible, and duck into the gap before the next corner. Again, you can jump up here for a shortcut. Time it so that the pusher is moving in so you have time to get up and jump to the next platform. After you walk up the next conveyors, try and move to the back as much as possible, and again, here you can make a shortcut and jump the corner if you're moving fast enough. Getting across the logs can be difficult. Just try and stick to the middle as much as possible, and be aware, people are being really rude and standing on the last log. This will knock you off unless you can get around them. Don't be that jerk standing there, and if there is somebody standing there, you can try and jump around them or wait until they start to move because they probably don't want to get caught by the slime either. The rest of this is pretty simple. You can zigzag through the slime and make sure to take your time on the pushers. When at the very top, take it slow around the wrecking balls as it's easy to get knocked off. Just swing your camera back and forth to make sure that you're not going to get hit. The Whirlygig. This one is really straightforward. You can try and use the spinners to hit you forward, however that can come with unexpected results. Myself, I always just try and jump them. I find if I angle myself so that the spinner is coming towards me, I can see it and easily jump it in time. When you get to the middle section, if you keep your momentum, you can easily jump to the yellow block and then jump again to make the platform. You can jump and hold R2 to grab and pull yourself up, but this does take longer. Easily just walk past the propellers and move on to the next section. Here you can try and go for the middle. If you do, stick as far left as possible and you might get by. I'd say 9 out of 10 times I don't make it through though. A lot of the time you can recover on the platform on the right hand side, but you might get hit off, so it's your choice if you want to try and risk it. Otherwise, if you just take it easy again, time your jumps to make sure you're not rushing to get from one platform to the next. Staying on the platform for a few seconds longer is better than getting knocked off. When you make it to the final jump, wait for the wheel to get past and jump and dive to make sure that you got plenty of space to make it. A lot of times people will rush it and they'll get knocked off. So I will stand here on the platform, wait, jump the spinner again, and then jump and dive to make that last jump. The final race one, Tiptoe. This has got to be one of the most frustrating races as usually only a few people can qualify and making a mistake near the end is disastrous. Start the round by being bold. I just take a leap of faith and see if you land on some of the platforms. As you start to find the platforms, you'll notice the ones people fall through don't actually come back. This is a good way of finding your way back if you do end up falling. The ground seems slippy on these floor tiles, so be careful not to get shoved off. Trust me, it's gonna happen. And try not to be at the front. Play the waiting game here and let the others fall off and find the right path. When you get near the end, there are usually 2 floor tiles straight to the finish. Remember to jump as there is a gap from the last tile to the finish. Now let's get on to the survival stages. Block Party. This is a very simple game and it's one of my favorite. There seem to be a few variations on the way that the walls will come at you, so learning the different ins and outs can be helpful. All you need to do is avoid the walls and the other players. I find it easiest to stand near the front of the platform as I feel it gives me more reaction time. Usually if there's a gap on one side, the next wall will have a gap on the other side, so start moving before the next wall comes up. Some of the different styles are when simple walls will come at you for most of the round. All you have to do is find the gaps. Near the end, they will add tiles that you have to jump over as well. These can be a little tricky, so just make sure to jump them. There is also a variation where sometimes you'll get ones where the walls will be coming at you, but some of them will actually have end caps. If you get stuck in here, you're out of luck and it's going to knock you out. So make sure you pay attention to see if yours has a gap or if it's got a cap on the end of it. Near the end of the stage, when time is running out, it will narrow down and you'll have a lot less space. Again, it's the exact same thing. Just try and stay in front. Don't get too crowded up with other people because jumping will get in the way and you'll make it through. Jump Club is another game that's simple in theory. All you have to do is jump over the green bar and avoid being knocked off. A lot of people I find run away from the green bar and are caught off guard and swept, especially when it starts to speed up. I find running at it head on is easiest and also lets you see where the pink bars are so you can easily jump to avoid them. Watch out for other players jumping as they can easily get you knocked off. Perfect match. What seems like a difficult game is probably one of the easiest. Try and position your camera to see all the nearby tiles around you and say out loud the shapes near you. Apple, orange, banana, apple, orange, banana. Always just remembering which tile you're starting with. Then, when the screen changes, you can easily step on the correct tile. When there are a lot of tiles to remember, look for a grouping on the floor with different ones close by so that you can easily switch positions. When in doubt, go to the platform that has the most people on it and you're probably safe. Rollout. The key to staying alive on this one is to keep moving. Turn your camera so that you're looking sideways and can easily tell if you are going over the edge. Move back and forth between platforms to stay as close to the top as possible. Try not to jump a lot, as this will make it more difficult to stay up and on. Walk between the different platforms and always be looking to see and find the big open paths. This is another one that a lot of people like to grab people and make things very interesting, so just be on the lookout for that too. Tail tag. Unfortunately, there are no great strategies for tail tag. I swear sometimes I'll be holding on to somebody and never get the tail, yet someone will be 3 feet away from me and the tail will just disappear. This could be due to lag or just overall silliness of the game. You can try and hide near the spinning obstacles to provide a little defense, or try running around the center underneath the walkways as it does obstruct people's view very easily. My biggest advice is just to keep moving. When trying to grab the tail, try and find ways of cutting the person off. If they're moving up a platform, go around the other side, or jump over the corner to try and cut off a little bit of time. All Fall Guys run the same speed, except you slow down when you are trying to grab, so any little time savers that you can do will let you catch up to the person with the tail. Team games. Egg Scramble. The idea of Egg Scramble is simple: grab the eggs, put them in your basket, and have more than everyone else. What you should really be trying to do is making sure another team has less than you. It doesn't matter if one of the teams has almost all the eggs, as long as you're not the least, you're fine. Usually people will swarm the team with the most eggs, so I go for the team that's in second place, as it's probably less guarded and you'll easily get some eggs out of there. While the yellow eggs do give you more points, they may not be worth chasing, as everyone who sees it will be after you. In the same amount of time, you could easily get a bunch of regular eggs out and barely have any issues. Ball Ball. This one really needs good teamwork. Ideally, you'll have 1 or 2 people hang back to play defense while the other teammates play offense. So you have to kind of gauge this. If nobody seems to be playing defense, I will hang back and do it. If nobody's playing offense, then I'll go forward and try and do that. One handy thing to know is that if you jump into the net, it spawns you back in the middle of the field. So if you really need to get back fast, this can be faster than running across the field. Just try and stay in front of the ball as much as possible. Jumping seems to help it bounce the ball further and faster, and the faster that you are running when hitting it, the harder it goes. Hoarders. Just like Egg Scramble, all you need to focus on is not being last. I have won many times by pushing the extra balls into another team's color just so that my team wasn't in last place. Try to move smoothly under each ball. Jumping and hitting them seems to bounce them back and forth more often than not, so just pushing generally works out better than jumping around erratically. Hoopsie Daisy. This is another one of my favorite team games. My number one tip for Hoopsie Daisy is to use your dive button. When jumping for those hoops, dive in the air for extra distance or more control over where you're going. I try to stick to one area of the map, as trying to chase down the hoops as they land doesn't seem to work out. Somebody's usually closer. Pick 1/4 of the map to stick to and do laps there waiting for the hoops to fall. When possible, try and line up hoops in a row so that you can run straight from one to the next, but this one should be pretty easy to win. There are some gold colored hoops that will give more points. If they're near you, go for them. Otherwise, again, don't change your strategy, stick to one area and you can usually get this. Jinx. I'm not sure anyone could really give you much strategy with Jinx. You want to stay away from anyone who is Jinxed for as long as possible, and if you do get caught, make sure you chase down everyone on the other teams who isn't. Again, this is just like any of the other ones. You want to be as fast as possible, so cut corners where you can and just try and chase them down. I have tried getting Jinxed right away so that I can try and infect people as fast as possible, but I can't really say if this is any better or worse strategy. Just hope that your team does pull through. Rock and roll. This can be another difficult team game, but there are a couple things that you can do to try and help yourself win. Quickly run into the ball and don't jump, just push. You can hold R2 to get better control of the ball, but just running up against it makes it move the fastest. Get it over the bumps, and when you get close to the section with the rod sticking up, run out in front of the ball and let it hit you so that it will move off to the side and continue going. The other thing I like to try and do is if I can see my team is rolling the ball well, I'll run ahead of the ball, jump down the big drop, and pick the team that is furthest behind, either in second or third place, and then stand in front of their section. Position yourself that as soon as the ball drops, you can be in front of it pushing backwards. Use R2 to hold on to the ball and just try and delay it as long as possible until you qualify. Team tail tag. Again, not a lot of strategy here with this one. Try and get the tails whenever possible, and please don't steal from your own team. I see this happen so often, and while it doesn't make you lose points or anything, it's just annoying to be watching out for people on both your team and the other teams. The final stages. Fall Mountain. This is one of my favorite final matches. Positioning doesn't matter too much here, you just need to be smart with your moves and make sure not to get knocked over, as speed is everything here. Right from the get-go, run as fast as you can straight up the mountain. I usually stick to the right hand side as I'm used to it. Balls will be falling down the mountain and they will hit and make the flippers spin. Always try to go to the side of the flipper that would shoot you higher up the mountain if you get hit. Ideally, you don't want to be hit by the flipper, but if it does, it's better to be further ahead than behind. So if the ball goes on the right side of the flipper, you want to be on the left. Pick a side of the wall that looks like less balls are headed for, and again, just try your best not to get knocked down. At the next flipper, again, try to be on the side that if it hits you, it's going to push you further up the mountain than backwards. Do the same thing with the spinning arms. If you stick to the far right side, when you go past the arms, even if it hits you, it will push you closer to the crown. You don't want to get hit, but it can help. Wait to jump up the steps until you're very close to them. Jumping too early can cause you to stumble and lose precious time. If you've made it to the top, there's probably one or two other people close by. As much as you want to rush and grab that crown, take a look at it as you're running up to it. The crown moves up and down, and you have to catch it when it's down or you're going to miss it. So take that second to line up and jump, and don't forget to press R2 to grab the crown. Hex-a-gone. This is another fun, frustrating, and difficult stage to win. There are a few strategies that you can take, but once you're playing, it can get very hectic. Usually at the beginning, you may be able to jump one or two tiles, so try and stay up higher as long as possible. My best tips are to always try and keep the camera moving around so that you can see where more tiles are available for you to move. When running out of tiles, jump to nearby tiles that have a single gap in between to easily make it. You can stretch it to 2 if you do dive, but getting up from the dive can sometimes take too long and you might fall through. Generally, I will try and run in circles to make as large a hole for other players to fall through as possible, while leaving lots of tiles for me to jump to. One strategy is to stand on a tile, then jump as it's about to disappear to the next, and then repeat this as long as you can. This does work really well if you're the only one on that level, otherwise people may steal the tiles that you need to jump to and leave you nowhere to go. Always try and look down so you can see where you're going to fall. Make sure to position yourself over more tiles to fall onto. Nothing is worse than falling through 2, 3, 4 floors all at one time. Keep doing this, and as long as your last one left, you've got this. Royal Fumble. Just like all the other tail tags, you've just got to be quick, and there isn't really too much strategy to this. Once you get the tail, run for dear life. Everyone's going to be after you, so always keep moving. I have found it helpful that sometimes you can use the wrecking balls to your advantage. If someone is getting really close, let it hit you, which can fling you out of the way. This can be risky, however, as you'll be knocked down, and if someone else is close by, they can grab the tail. Trying to get the tail, again, you just have to be as fast as you can, get as close as you can to the people, and pick up that tail. Jump Showdown. This is the newest final stage that they recently added. This is very similar to Jump Club. This one has the addition of a second lower bar that will knock you off, and the platforms will fall away, leaving only 2 platforms left to stand on. This means a lot less running around, and you have to plan things a little more carefully. Watch the ground as the platforms that start to shake are going to fall away, and try and make sure that you can position yourself on ones that are going to be there. You can make a jump between platforms, but you need to be on the side closest to the spinner bars to make it. Jump and dive and hope for the best. Again, watch for other people because if they get caught and run into you, it can make you stumble. So try and stay on your own and you got this one. Just jump over the bars and you can make it to the end. That's it for my tips for now. Hopefully with them, you'll be set to win a bunch of crowns. If you enjoyed the contents of this video or have any other helpful tips, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I also stream Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday nights on Twitch. The link to my channel is in the description down below. Until next time, as always, happy gaming.